what I want from you, some people have said that the cameras are affecting the connections. So if I find this in the middle, I will ask you to close the cameras and just be all ears to me. I prefer cameras on Zoom because I connect more with you. Let me start here. 3-4 things just to make things easier for us. Number one, I'm Rasha. I come from Egypt. I'm a trainer for executive trainer on leadership based. My material is based on Harvard Kennedy School material. Graduated from there, worked with Harvard Kennedy School to train on leadership. I traveled the world doing this this training, including a lot of things under leadership. I can take your questions at the end. So I'm very happy to be with you today. My age is 51, so I assume I'm older than all of you in the room right now. Very, very happy to be for the second time with this initiative, the African Women Leadership Program. New connections, new bonds, new friendships from last year's. I did a lot of friendships from last year's training with the first year of the African Women Leadership Program. And here we are for the second year with the crisis and with the pandemic, but amazing job from the Egyptian government to handle this on Zoom. How are we going to proceed? We have, I think they are giving me from now to 50 to 4:30, right, Ihab?
Yes.
So, yes. So we have until 4:30. What I promise you is that this is not all the training. This is my job. I train on introduction levels, middle management, CEOs, top positions, government institutions. But during this 1.5 hours, I will just give you 1 or 2 concepts so that if you want to continue with this, we can just connect after that. But that will help you a lot as tools for business leadership nowadays. I'll share with you the presentation, and if everything is going well, just raise your hands. If you have any questions, please, before we start, or we will give you, or I will give you around 10 minutes at the end just to ask your questions. Is that fine? Can we start? Can we start? Yes?
Yes, sounds great. Thank you.
Great. All right. Let me share the screen. All right. Anybody sees the screen?
Yes.
Yeah? Perfect.
Yes.
So I actually consider myself African as well, more than Arab. I don't know why, but I love being an African. Leadership. There's a lot of leadership going on in the market. It's a $14 billion industry, and I want to build on Mrs. Mary in the morning, who has given you definitely a great amount of handling the challenges of leadership and what it means. However, what I'm going to embark on, or our journey of leadership today, is very up to date, and it's kind of need a lot of listening and reflections and analysis. It's not just a lecture. I want you to think more about every concept we say here. because I'm obsessed with transforming organizations and people. And this is the latest thing in the world that is coming up with leadership. What is happening in the world with leadership? Leadership, what is the difference between before an industrial economy and now, which is a knowledge economy? Today, where technology is very fast, things are changing like every 2 years. Experts are no experts after 2 years. They become obsolete if you don't train yourselves into management skills, behavioral change, emotional intelligence. It's becoming very difficult nowadays. Turnover is high in the organization, financial crisis, uncertainty, more of it, a knowledge economy. The major difference between the industrial economy and the knowledge economy is that work is very unclear. Before, you know exactly what you want to do. And that was the second revolution after the World War II. Manufacturing has become a major shift from agriculture. And you know exactly what product are you producing, what is exactly you want to do, what is exactly you want to end up with in terms of production or in terms of manufacturing. And then we found out the services economy, like Dubai. Dubai is becoming a great services economy. And then we went into the technology, and the technology has been changing tremendously. Google has been doing a lot of research on changing health DNA, changing the internet. Everything is so changing. And you definitely heard about the new normal with the crisis. So in knowledge economy, researchers, especially those of Harvard Business Review, started to see that work is becoming very hard. It's not easy, it's not tangible, it's not materialized, it's very unclear. You don't know what you have to do. Yes, your manager, or maybe you're the CEO, you're the top person in the organization, but you don't know exactly the plan. And even if you don't know exactly the plan, things change, like what happened with the COVID-19. It's upside down. So how can we handle this? What are you going to do? That's what I am going to ask you to just go with me into this journey of leadership. When do we need leadership? Is it in the day-to-day utility? Or it's in problem solving only, or decision making, or turnover is high these days, financial crisis? When do we need leadership? And what does it mean to be a leader? Because this word, let me be frank here, I like real life thing. It's a very big word. It's used a lot of times. In the 10 years, in the last decade, it was about motivation, inspiration, how to influence people. But I think these 10 years, even the definition of leadership has changed. What does it mean to be a leader? Who saw this film? Mel Gibson, Braveheart. Anybody of you saw Braveheart? If you didn't see this movie, you have to see it. It's amazing. So Mel Gibson was the hero of the movie, and in times of war, he was standing at the front row. So that's again how leadership has changed. How can we say it changed? Starting at the front row in times of war is very, very, very dangerous. And that's the main definition of leadership. The origin of the term lead is coming from light, L-E-I-T. And it is exactly standing in the front row at times of war. What does it mean to stand in the front row at times of war? Unfortunately, the only thing that comes across your mind, if you can write me, what does it come to your mind when I tell you you're at the front row at times of war? What do you see? Tell me, just chat on the chat. All right, let's see. What do you see? What comes to your mind when you find yourself that leadership means standing in the front row in times of fighting or war? What does this mean to you? What does this mean? Courage, beautiful, bravery, amazing, power, but then is it risky? Dangerous, extremely, very courageous, no matter what. Courage to fight, responsible. Everyone is depending on me, amazing answers. However, it means bravery, 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 leading the way. But it also means, and I'm taking from Annie Laura, the last, danger. It means danger. It means that you can get killed at any time. You're standing in the front row. Yes, we need bravery. Yes, we need courage. You're amazing, all of you. Yes, we need responsibility. Yes, we are leading the way. Yes, everybody is depending on me. But then you have to be just noticing and knowing that it's extremely dangerous because you can get killed at any time. So somebody can ask me, Rasha, how can you get killed in an organization? That's the beauty of it, and how the researchers and how our adaptive leadership science started to look at organizations and see terms and symbols of getting killed if you are leading the way and you're not trained well on what we are going to train you. How can you get killed in an organization? A lot of things. Just think about it. You can get sabotaged. You can get demoted. Everybody can be called for a meeting and you are not called into this meeting. Ignored, neglected. Thank you so much. Stabbed in the back. Beautiful, Dr. Vonani. Outvoted. People would never listen to you. And especially if you are a woman, you can be outvoted, you can be unheard, unseen, you're not there. This is what we mean by being killed in an organization. And that's why and how this science of adaptive leadership has evolved in the last 5 years. Let's start. We'll close the chat right now in order to start. So, what do we need to know in this hour or so that you can reflect on when I leave you, and then we can meet again and again if you want. Three things leadership, when we realized that there is danger, we figured out that three things leadership revolved around: risks, challenges, and resources in the room, resources around you, in the organization, not outside the organization. So work in your daily to daily life, and we will manage to talk about this. There's technical work and there is adaptive work. And give me 5 minutes just to pass this thing that I want to talk about. We found out that leadership revolves around risks. That's why it is dangerous. Challenges, that it is so difficult to handle, and resources. You can't do it alone. You have to have alliances. And that's why this science is divided into 3 parts. One, that we teach people how to have a diagnostic mindset, how to have a good observation, how you can interpret things around you, how you can handle the environment, how you can observe the culture and the system of the organization. What is the system analysis? What is the culture analysis? What is the department, your department analysis? What is your boss? Who's he? What is he coming? What are the circumstances? What is his character traits? So the first part is concerned about diagnosing the environment. And we provide a lot of tools and we provide a lot of training that help you be alert and observe what is going on here and now. This is number 1. Number 2, the other part is that you can't lead others before leading yourself. Why did we say that? Because we found out that people who are not self-aware of themselves, what do they get triggered of? Why do they get angry in this specific moment? Why do they defend themselves? If they are not self-aware of themselves, and if they don't have high emotional intelligence, we found them that they become part of the problem of the organization, not part of the solution. So number 2 is how to lead yourself as a system in order to understand exactly what is happening here. And then the third part, which is the beautiful part, that every top organization, every board, every management, so whether it's high management, middle management, first line management, whether it's any industry, health, technology, financial, the day-to-day operation is how to lead others from point A to point B. But we added a specific thing on the last decade's definition. The last decade's definition of leadership, it was mobilizing people from point A to point B. Today, we found out that we added a thing, we added value over this statement. It's mobilizing people from point A to point B while holding people steady. And please, if you have a notebook, if you have anything, I'll leave you the presentation, but it's very important that you write certain things for you. What is holding people steady? Part of the problems that you keep solving in any organization, and part of the high performance of the organization, and part of the success, and part of the result-oriented organization is to be people-oriented and to hold people steady through their fears and losses. Why do we do that? Why do we do that? I'll ask you on the chat again in order to feel a lot of engagement from your side. Why do we want to hold people steady when we are leading them? Who can tell me? Assurance? Yes, people Yeah, but it's not the thing. I am the top of the organization. I'm the CEO. Yesterday, it was only I want to influence people. I want to mobilize them from one place to the other. Today, Harvard and Stanford and MIT and Google and Facebook have added while holding people steady. Not only to give them assurance and gain loyalty, absolutely, but also what? People are writing, we want to move with them at the same pace. Amazing. To be confident, right? Seeing the vision together, yes. Achieve good results, absolutely. Institutional commitment, control. I would love to, if I have time, to discuss control. I love these words. What do you mean by control? It's not about control. Leader is the one who takes everybody with him and go to the other side. You lead with people. But then only one have figured out the term that I am looking for. So, Justina, so we cannot lose them. So it is right that we want them to be confident. We want them to engage in our vision. We want them to give them assurance, to be confident. All of this, I'm not saying no about. But the top priority of holding your people steady is not to lose them. Lose them to what? Because this is not the full answer. Lose them to what? What do you mean by lose them? Why would you lose them? Disengage? Yes, but there is something I want you to reflect on. When people face change, what do they feel? What do you feel when all of a sudden COVID-19 has gone into our organizations and we can't see any sight of the future or any sight of a certain future? So what do we feel? Lost. We feel fear. And what do we do when we are lost or when we are fearful? Withdraw. Amazing. What else do we do? Hopelessness, frustration. What else do we do? The big word that I want you always in your organization to think about: resistance to change. And that's the core of leading people. The new definition of leading people. Because at the beginning, when they didn't add holding people steady, there was a lot of resistance from people. So, you know what? Researchers go into the developed countries and said, what happened? So they found out that people resist change. That's why I need to hold them steady. In order to move on and move the initiative and lead people forward, I want to go forward. So let's go back. We will stop the chat. We took 3 things until now. Leadership is the danger. It revolves around risks, challenges, and resources. This is number 1. Number 2, it is standing in the front line at times of war, which means that you can get killed. And we said, what is killed in an organization? We also said that we're now living, all of us, in a global world of a knowledge economy. Everything is changing like every 2 years, and nobody is an expert for more than 2 years. So the change is much, much, much faster than we think. So let's stay here. Remember when we said, what are the traits of a leader? And I'm sure in the morning session, you have tackled this. So I remember 10 years ago, I used to say charismatic. He has charisma. Charismatic, it turned out that he's taking communication skills course. Very good communication skills. By the way, I was very, very, very lucky that my professor is the one who was training President Barack Obama. So there's charisma, which we figured out by time that charisma is knowing how to communicate properly with people. There's also, we found out that when I ask people, if we are together in the same room and I ask you, what are the traits of a leader? You can tell me a strong character. You can tell me knowledgeable. You can tell me a decision maker, an expert in his field. But then I want to tell you something. What is a surprise to me and to you, yes, it is all of these traits, but it is also none of these traits during these times, during these uncertain times. It is none. So what is it? It's the ability, your ability as a manager, your ability as a CEO, if you want, only if you want to be leading, your ability to see what is going on within and among people in the organization, so that performance is high and not low, so that complaints are low and not high, complaints are in the corridors. You want a free culture from toxicity. You want a free culture from politics and assassinating people. You want to be, if you want to lead, you want to grow in your diagnostic tools to understand what is happening with people in the organization. Having said that, I will take one or two concepts for you until 4:30 to discuss here. I wouldn't be able to talk a lot about the full process of leadership. A diagnostic mindset. I'll teach here a very, very, very important concept. I am a culture development also advisor, that I go and figure out what the problems are in each organization. And the minute I go into organizations, the first tool I get from the leadership kit is to understand if the problem is a technical problem or an adaptive problem. That is the first tool as a leader to go into the organization or your departments or a meeting or even meetings, believe it or not. The first tool you want to start diagnosing the environment with is to figure out if the problem here and in this place, whether it's in the department, it's in the company, it's in the meeting, whether it's a technical problem or an adaptive problem. Let's define what is an adaptive problem and what is a technical problem. It can be a problem, it can be a challenge, in order to be very clear about the terms. How can we distinguish technical problems from adaptive problems? And that's the beginning of this new science. They figured out that while technical problems appear to be complex, they have known solutions. Let me give you an example. I am originally, I am an economist. I'm a senior economist, 25 years, and then I changed my career into training and the education field. So I was a senior economist to organizations. What is a technical problem? Like if I'm doing macro policies to the country, if inflation goes high, if unemployment goes high, these need technical expertise. It needs an economist. Financial problems need a financier. Marketing problems get the marketeer. Okay, if the desk you are working on, the leg got broken, get a carpenter. As simple as this. It's a technical thing, and there is a technical expertise. When you get the technical expert, he will know the solution to this problem. So technical problems, when we wanted to define them, they appear to be complex, but at the end of the day, they have known solutions. I can fix the inflation. I know how to fix the inflation as an economist. And this solution can be implemented by my expertise, by your expertise, the technical, the current know-how, okay? And actually, it can be implemented through the structures, the normal structures of the company, the normal processes, the normal tasks that you give to your subordinates every day, the ways of doing things. So what about the adaptive problems? What is it, the adaptive challenge? They found out that the adaptive problems can only be addressed through change in people's priorities, in people's beliefs, mindsets, habits, loyalties. It's very difficult. I love this part. Why? Because business finally, the last HBR review, they said that leadership competencies without being people oriented and you have high emotional intelligence, you will get growth rates for 1 or 2 years and then we find them fired. People can and have the ability, whether they are the authorizing environment or underneath you, to fire you, to get you out of the organization. So how can you lead them? You only lead them through change in their priorities, in their beliefs, in their loyalties, and their habits. That's a beautiful table. I always have it in my notebook. If it's technical, then the problem definition and the solution is clear, is known. It's a known solution. Do we need a leader to give orders? I will stop here and ask you on the chat. Let's go again on the chat. Do we need a leader to give orders if the problem is technical, or we don't need a leader here? Who can tell me in the chat? Hello, where's the chat? All right, let's see. The leader can serve as guide. Technical must be resolved by personnel. No, we need technical person. No, self-management. Not a leader. A technical person is sufficient. We don't need a leader here. Not at all, unless that leader is an expert in the field. That's by coincidence, I understand. So let's go back to our understanding. I will be very creative and innovative. So what do we need here? What do we need? We need a person who gives what? Who gives an order, which means we need an authority figure. Is that clear, girls? Is that clear? We need an authority figure. And that's a major thing we need to look at with ourselves. What is the difference between authority figure and leadership? What is the difference between authority figure and leadership? I'll tell you what is the difference. Do we need authority figure in our organizations? I'll ask you several questions to think about. Do we need authority figures in our organizations? Yes or no? Think about it. Do we need leaders? Yes or no? Does the authority figure mean that he is a leader? If we have a CEO, what does this mean? A CEO is an authority figure or a leader? My question, a CEO to any organization is an authority figure or a leader? Can you answer me on the chat? Can you answer me on the chat? All right. An authority figure can be a leader, a CEO. Is he a leader or she a leader or an authority figure? Dr. Vonani, both. Maybe. But the default is that a CEO is an authority figure or a leader. Yeah, come on, people are changing their mind. Amazing answers. Is the CEO, and a lot of you are CEOs. Are you an authority figure or a leader? Let's stop telling a leader or calling everybody a leader. Finally, because I'm very short in time, I wish I had more, a CEO is an authority figure. Is he a leader? Let's explore a bit more together. We'll stop the chatting in order to concentrate with me. An authority figure, it revolves around three things. Remember, a leader revolves around risks, challenges, and resources. What about the authority figure? It revolves also around three things. Order, to put order in the place. That's the CEO we want, to put order in the place. Organization, organizing, to put the order, to see the tasks, the processes, all right? He is also called for as an authority figure, or she, to put direction. Where are we going? Where are we going? Think about a father and a mother in a family. Are they an authority figure or leaders? Think about presidents of organizations, of countries. Are they authority figure or leaders? They are authority figures. We give them our trust as a CEO. I am an employee. I'm giving the trust to the CEO to do three things: the order, the direction, and the protection. Direction, I want to write them for you. Order, direction, and protection. What do we mean by protection? So we managed to explain the order, And we managed to explain the direction. What do we mean by protection? If something goes wrong, the employee will be assured, or at least he's safe, that the manager will protect him. So when the COVID-19 hit organizations, it is the responsibility of the authority figure to protect the employees. Is that clear, ladies? It's very different from a leader. So what is a leader? Remember, a leader revolves around risks, challenges, and resources. An authority revolves around order, direction, and protection. Did you understand now why most authority figures are not leaders? Why? I want you to, I wish I had a bit more time to think. Why do you think authority figures don't want to lead or afraid to lead? Remember the definition of leadership? They can get killed. They want always the authority figures would mostly, in general, stay in their comfort zone, this circle of power. If you want to lead, whether it's a crisis or a change, or maybe organization, they came together in a merge and two cultures, and the problems are escalating in terms of adaptive problems, in terms of this culture or that culture, situations that people are resistant to change. So the authority figure would always tend to use his power. He always wants to stay, or she always wants to stay in that circle of comfort. If you want to lead a situation, you will be, you have to dance on the edges of this circle. You will go out of the comfort zone, and then you will take some risks. And these risks can affect you if you can't lead properly. Remember my words. So back to our nice table that we are getting one after the other. What is it? If it's a technical problem, it's clear. Again, get the carpenter, remember? Get the carpenter. All right? How can I close the chat? How can I close the chat? Anybody knows how to close the chat? Okay. If it is, sorry, just give me a second. I want to close the chat and I don't know how to do it. What is it? Okay. Do you see is the slide clear for you? Because it is not clear for me. Can anybody answer me? Is the slide clear for you? Is the table clear for you? It's clear. Okay. So if it is a technical thing, get the carpenter. Who will give the solution and who will give the task order? The authority figure. So we need the authority figures in organizations. Okay. But if it is an adaptive challenge or an adaptive problem, the solution is not clear. It requires some learning. All right? It requires learning. Remember, it requires diagnosis. It requires observation, focus. What is going on here? So what do? We need both. We need to handle the leading process of the learning process. So the adaptive problem requires learning, and you need to gather with the stakeholders and lead the solution. Unfortunately, what we found out in the organizations in the last 5 years, that the problems, they don't come identified. I can't pinpoint and say, this is a technical problem, this is an adaptive problem, we can do this. We found out that the problems, they come bundled together. They come bundled together. So what do? We also found out mistakes that you can learn from. That's why I'm telling you this. We also find out that when we see a problem, they all go to the technical part, and they totally do not know anything about the adaptive part. Let me give you an example here. It's a very easy example. Very easy example. We have a problem of, garbage. We have a problem of garbage, and we want to solve this problem of garbage. So we assume that we get companies, we contract them. The contract says that these companies, their technical job is to remove garbage. Their technical job is to remove garbage from the streets, whatever. All right? And then they started their journey, and the company started to collect the garbage, but they found out that the problem is still in its place. It is not solved. What does this mean? What does this mean? It means that it is not a technical problem. It means that even if you get the big garbage bins, and even if you get new companies to solve the garbage problem, there is an adaptive side of the problem. What is the adaptive side? The second thing I will get you into learning from the leadership kit is ask yourself, who are the stakeholders of the problem? I will write you this. Who are the stakeholders of the problem? Let's think about the example. It's a simple example. I'm just getting it not from the slides, it's from my brain. So who are the stakeholders of the garbage problem? Can anybody tell me? Ladies, back to the chat. Who are the stakeholders of the problem? Is it a technical problem? So we contracted the companies, and we got the new garbage bins, and we started dealing with the problem, and then they found out, oops, the problem is not solved. The problem is not solved. Sadna is saying, community, right? You are. Who else? Who else? The community, the people, the users, the institutions, you're right, the authorities, the government, the population. So the first, it is a beautiful tool in your organization. If you go into a meeting and find a problem, and then number one, you differentiate or you separate that, yes, it is a technical problem, so it's clear, get the authority figure, give the orders, give the tasks. But if it is not clear, then there is an adaptive problem. What is an adaptive problem? The adaptive problem concerning the priorities, the beliefs of the people, the habits, the loyalties. So our second tool that we're using today is map the stakeholders. Who are your stakeholders? In order to understand how you would mobilize them from one place to the other. We need to understand who the stakeholders are. In this case of the garbage problem, you said it all, the people, the population. What happened? They thought that the garbage is gonna be solved, but it wasn't. Yes, because not only the people, remember the stakeholders I remember was this guy, the garbage guy, who was poorer than the companies before. When I was young, this garbage guy, the young one, he used to get to every building and go up the stairs, pick the garbage from every apartment, and go into his boss of garbage pickers, garbage collectors. Do these people lose anything when we gave the contracts to new companies? Yes or no? Waiting for your answers. Do these people, the garbage pickers, one of the stakeholders of the problem, did they lose or did they win when we gave contracts to the new companies? Did they lose or win? Can you listen to me? They lose, definitely. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you, Agaba. They lose, they definitely lose. And when you lose, what are you going to do? Mandisa, I'm seeing your hand. I'll finish this part and then get back to you. So they lose. We all agree that they lose. Think about people, what do they lose? They lost their jobs. They lost their income. What can they do so that the operation and the process, the new one, doesn't go smoothly? You will not believe it. A lot of problems came from the stakeholders. You can't believe it. They found out that the garbage bins in the morning, the new companies have been complaining that when they pick the garbage, the profit of the garbage collection comes from the recycling. So those garbage pickers go to the big garbage bins early in the morning just to break the new companies, and they pick all the recycling material and left the waste or the food waste and the other waste to the new companies. So nobody moved forward. Nobody moved forward. That's a very simple example of what happens to you in your organizations. Technical problems versus adaptive problems. Mandisa, what's your question? All right, can you write me your question? Hello? Do you hear me? Guys, do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Somebody needed to ask a question called Mandisa, right? Or I continue, Ihab, Amelie.
I'm trying to make her unmute.
All right. So let me continue until she appears. fear, loss. Our next part. Then the first tool, let's write here. First tool in your kit is technical, identify technical from adaptive. And remember, they come in bundles. All right? Number 2, if they are technical, the authority figure will give orders of the task required. All right? If it is adaptive, what do we need? Remember the table? It requires some learning. So the country, before giving the contract to the new companies, they should have listened to the stakeholders. Why? They should, sorry. They should have listened to the stakeholders. Then identify technical from adaptive, solve the technical, listen and require some learning to the adaptive problem. Why? In order to hold people steady so that they don't kill me as a leader. So in your organization, map the stakeholders. Our second tool, map the stakeholders. All right? And when you map the stakeholders, you need to connect with them, listen to their concerns, and give them part of the pie of the winning so that they don't resist the change. Why do people resist change? And we said it before. The third concept I'm going to discuss with you is, why do people resist change? And you said it, it's the fear. It is not only the fear. When we train here, we train something that we need to identify, quantify. So I want you all to be leaders and take the risks to be leaders. But then part of the diagnostic mindset, that's what we are discussing. So it's about not the fear of losing. So it's about the losses at stake. Always when you lead your department from one place to the other, or when you lead in my last year, I've been training on Zoom leadership in times of the crisis or in times of the pandemic. And this is a major thing on the losses at stake. What do we mean the losses at stake? Why do people afraid of the COVID-19? Why did people panic? What is the authority figure role here? And what is the leader's role here? All of this you have to think about. All of this you have to think about so that you have control on top of your organization and what is going on. So the third concept I need really to talk about with you here, it's the losses at stake. Adaptive leadership, we said that before. It's about moving people through those losses to a new place. The pandemic is here. The COVID-19 is here. The performance and the growth of the organization is going down. The results are going down. What is the adaptive problem here? People are afraid. What are they afraid of? Let's open the chat again and again. I love this. So let's open the chat. What are people afraid of within the COVID-19, within the pandemic? Tell me more. Let me see here. The unknown, amazing. Becoming redundant. They get out of their jobs, losing their jobs. What else? Job insecurity. Think more. Death. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Death. Not knowing new skills. Family issues. Amazing. Think more. The idea of being a leader, my precious women, is not only to say one thing. We want you to use your analysis and critical thinking. Security, you can lose your security. Violence, uncertain future, damage, job insecurity, poverty, family breadwinning, amazing, risks, uncertain future. Can you believe the fears that are taking place during the pandemic? And I'm sure every one of you has gone through the same journey. The authority figure will not be able to handle his organization. Only the leader and the adaptive leader is the one who can handle this. Why? Because it is the statement holding people steady through their losses. I'll close the chat and talk about the losses a bit more than this, because it's almost 4, so we're running out of time. What do we mean losses? You said it all. I'll give you a few. I will let you see it with a new eye, the new leader, because if you want to lead, you have to see the losses. My mother once said, I remember, someone among you said death. Death is a very big word, and I loved the word. My mother once, she was very fearful. By the way, leading your families, you can use adaptive leadership. In the organization, you can use adaptive leadership. And my mother, so when I learned this and I get into being a trainer 5 years ago, there was something happening in the area where my mother was residing. And then she was very fearful. And then I told her, Mama, why are you afraid? What are you afraid of? She said, I'm afraid of losing my life. Life. Can you believe it, guys? Can you believe life? People, we are human beings. We associate, we're feared. We are full of fears. So I just named a few of the losses. Maybe you would like to know. Identity. I can lose my identity. If I am the advisor to the minister and I am afraid of losing my job, it is not only about money, it's about image, it's about title, it's about reputation, it's about identity. I am the advisor to, I am the minister, I am the CEO. That's a big thing. I'm afraid to lose it. That's why authority figures don't take these risks. They don't want to lose anything. Competence, comfort zone, like some of you have said, security, reputation, job, time, as simple as that. I don't want to lose time. Adaptive problems, there is a bit of more time involved into it because it requires some learning. You don't know what is going on here. Money, job, titles, power. Power is a well-known thing. So if you're coming and you're subordinate is competing with you just to the CEO. He's afraid of losing his power. He's afraid of losing control over you. He's afraid of losing status, image, title, reputation, resources, independence, anything. I can tell you around 100 more. So I named the losses at risks. Think about it. That's why authority figures don't want to take risk, because they are afraid to lose their identity, their title, their job. They get assassinated in this definition of losses. All right, so what do we need to do as leaders? And by the way, I want to tell you one good thing for you. Is leadership an activity, or you are born a leader? We'll open the chat again. Is leadership an activity, or you are born as a leader? So there are leaders and there are followers. And when you say activity, thank you, Hassana and Susan, both are correct. Yeah, you can be talented, but we're training everybody to be a leader. But what I mean of activity, what do we mean by activity? In order to understand, what do I want you to think of? Activity is like a swimming activity. I'm going to play the guitar. I'm going to swim now for an hour. So that's an activity. So what do we mean by leadership is an activity? Who can tell me? If it's an activity, you have the choice to lead or not. Who agrees with me? I will go to the swimming, or I will not go to the swimming. So if leadership is an activity, and yes, it is learnable, beautiful. The beautiful words come from Wafa El-Garrah and Dr. Vonani and Sadna. It is a choice. Choice is the word. You have the choice, ladies, to lead or not to lead. You have the choice to lead or not to lead. And that is very, 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 very important. Please, we'll close the chat to understand what I want you to think of. And that's how I do, and that's what I do right now. I went into a meeting and I found a technical problem that have been solved, but I found out that the team doesn't work together in a proper way. Or I found out with my observation, of course, we don't have time. We have a lot of tools to grow your observations and focus and diagnostic skills. So I found out that the team doesn't want to work together. That's definitely an adaptive problem. So I assigned the team technically, but if I'm not an adaptive leader, this training session that you're taking, I will not take care. I will give the orders as an authority figure. You will do this and that as a team. And I will never take notice or take observation that the team hates each other. And all of us know this in the workplace, right or wrong? Right. So I'm in this meeting, I'm Rasha, and I go into this meeting. I figured out that there is an adaptive challenge here. Before leading Do I ask myself whether I want to lead or not? Yes. I'll repeat it again. Before leading, I'm not the authority figure. I am a senior economist going with the minister, and the minister is the authority figure. All right? And there is a team of personnel, employees, and there is only handling for the technical challenge. And I am very well trained on diagnosing the environment, what is going on here. And I found out with my skills of observation that the team doesn't like each other. And that will cause a lot of problems to the organization's growth, number one, and to the project's completion, number two. And I am as Rasha in my level of economics 10 years ago. Do I choose to lead before going into leading the situation? Please, please, please. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Yes. Ask yourself, do you want to lead this or not? Ask yourself, do you want to lead this or not? Why? Because the minute I say yes, I will be revolving around 3 things. Remember? Risk, challenge, and resources. This is number 1. So number 2, why do I ask myself? In order to be very conscious that there are risks and I might be killed. So please ask yourself, is it worth it or not? I wanted to lead every time. Now I choose what I want to lead, right? That's the beauty of it. It's an activity. It's a choice. It's a tough choice. And if you say yes, you become very conscious of, number 1, the risks you're going into. Number 2, the challenges. Number 3, how to use the resources in the room. Step number 2 is that you start to say, what is the adaptive problem as we went into this leadership journey, right? You figured out the adaptive problem. You start to map the stakeholders. Why is the team not liking each other? It requires some learning. Before even saying a word of leading and influencing people from one place to the other. What else do I need to know before leading? Number 1, the question, ask yourself, do I want to lead? Yes or no? Yes, then be prepared. No, then it's okay. It's not worth it. I'm not gonna pay the price because of some other things. All right, this is number 1 question. What is the other question? The other question is very, 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 very nice and important. What are the losses? Who are the stakeholders? And what are the losses? Why is this hate? Why is this culture of toxicity? Who is with who? Who is a body with who? And who doesn't like who? Map it in front of you in a fraction of a second in order to communicate well and hold people steady. So the concept of loss should take you as a leader to throw some gains to people. You give them some wins and some gains, and when you hold them steady and communicate so that they feel safe, they will go with you. They will go with you. One other thing that I want you to know and understand carefully, that before leading anything, whether your department, your organization, your meetings, your projects, your subordinates, before leading, ask yourself, what is the purpose of leading this? We'll open the chat again. It's 4:05 and we'll answer. Why do you want to know the purpose before leading? Who can tell me, beautiful ladies, why do we want to know the purpose before leading? Why? So we will ask ourselves, do I want to lead? Yes, I want to lead. What is the purpose? Some of them said to avoid the unforeseen, to know where to lead the people, to get a bigger picture. The purpose gives direction. To know if this is a risk for organization, to lay good strategies, to have the choice to be clear. Beautiful answers. There is no right or wrong. To know if you have the capacity, of course. What else? To know where you are heading to. I'll give a star to Belkisu, to know where you are heading to. A leader cannot lead without a purpose. Let us close the chat in order to focus with me the last 10 minutes. I'll take a very simple, trivial example for you. And I like the personal examples. If you are a mother, I'm a mother to two, one is 28 and one is 23. If I want to lead them, and you know this generation, and you know how hard they are, and I know how fearful they can be, how the losses, they don't want to lose, everything that I told you from the beginning of the session. But I don't know the purpose. I will lead my son and daughter to a purpose. I want them to agree that they do the chores of the house every day from now on instead of me. That's my purpose. And definitely you are all mothers. I have to name the purpose. Why? Because I want to know where I am heading to. Why again? Ask yourself, everybody knows the 6 whys. Let me tell you the 6 whys after we close the session. Why again? Because in any leading activity, there's a lot of people and a lot of stakeholders who would love to drag you and disturb you and distract you and distract your line of thought. I'll say that again. Why do we need to say how to know the purpose? Because in every situation that we want to lead, think about a meeting with your subordinates. How many of you went into a meeting and I am leading the meeting as the CEO, and the meeting starts by one activity or one discussion, and it ends up with a very different activity and a discussion. If you are leading and you know your purpose, you will be so focused to get them back when they get dragged. Is this clear for everybody? Can you say yes or no? Can you say yes or no? Is this clear? Why do we need to know our purpose? Because we need to stay on course. Leaders stay focused. Leaders, whatever happens, whatever my son tells me, Mama, I have a meeting, let's continue, I will bring him back to the subject. In an aggressive way or in a calm way. Definitely leaders are not aggressive. They are very calm. And I'll tell you a tip about that at the end. So back again to the concept of loss. When people lose, they can't bear it. So that's why people resist change. Every situation, girls, every situation, if you win a medal, you lose at the exact time, spot, and a fraction of a second when you win the medal. This is a very, very, very difficult example I need you to reflect on. The minute I get an award, this minute, I am a success. And there are other people in our organization that will not be happy with our success. If I want to be a good leader, I have to know these people in order to mobilize them from one place to the other while holding them steady. Because if I don't hold them steady, they will bring me down. I will not be able to win again. You will make some good enemies. So make sure you understand what I say. In systems, we deal with this, and we found out at Harvard Business and our research that we deal with this on a daily basis. In organizations, they found out, and in multinationals, and in places like I went to in Dubai and in Africa and in Google in the US, in Facebook, I have the privilege to do everything about that. We found out that the adaptive challenges constitute 80 to 85% of the organization's work. It is not about the tasks. And so you can't lead if you can take the loss, or if you don't understand and hold people steady within their losses. The last 5 minutes, because we will end at 4:20, I'll tell you the core meaning of leadership. Leadership comes at a time, I wish I can see authority figures lead. But again, now you understand. We rarely see authority. We have ones, and we saw, but it's very rare. It's not common that a CEO becomes a leader. And we understood that he prefers to stay in the comfort zone of order, direction, and protection. When is the leader needed. The leader is mostly needed in times of disequilibrium, like the pandemic crisis, like a situational change, like a company that the management has completely changed and they come with a new culture. And the old people are very much attached to the old management. When we found out that there is a toxic culture, when we found out that there is a competition that is toxic. Competition is nice, but sometimes it's toxic. When we found out that complaints are in the corridors from behind our backs, this is where I want you to start diagnosing the system. Practicing leadership requires you to help people navigate through a period of disturbance. It's usually helping people navigating through disequilibrium and disturbance, which is like the crisis and the pandemic and the COVID-19. Number one, it needs you to be very well aware of what is happening in the space. This is number two. It needs you, before that, remember, and I'll repeat again, you need to be highly emotional intelligent. And that's why we teach underneath the umbrella of leadership, the most important two skills that constitute around 70% of leadership is emotional intelligence and communication. And that's why we give leadership and we give emotional intelligence and communication. So I want you to go and take emotional intelligence and communication if you want to lead. Number four, we will ask ourselves, do we want to lead or not? Because it's an activity. Number five, what is our purpose to lead? Where are we going? What is the purpose? I'm taking people to where? Where am I taking them? In order to know what is happening. Number six, what are the losses that I might encounter? Why is the team, why don't they like to work together? Maybe there is a threat. Maybe somebody is competing underneath the rug. I have to understand this in order to act politically. I'm a leader. I should talk properly. I should communicate properly. I should identify the problems, the challenges, the circumstances, the environment, the culture, everything. It happens when you call attention to tough questions. Tough questions and the art of asking questions, that's a session I do mainly as separate one, the art of asking questions, because you want to analyze, you want to know, is this not a closed-ended questions, not like, do you like this training? Yes or no? This is, I really didn't gain anything. What did you like about this training? Always have open-ended questions. What did you not like about this training? Because yes or no will take me nowhere in leadership. And then you go into people's norms and job descriptions and beliefs and priorities, like a surgeon with the way you handle them. This equilibrium can catalyze everything from conflict, frustration, panic, resistance to doing the tasks. This is not the case with technical problems. And the necessary skills I am repeating at the end of our session. I'm really sorry that we don't have time to train on this, how to lead yourself as a beginning, just the beginning. You can't lead others while you don't have the capacity to manage yourself in the environment. If you get triggered, you can't lead. If you get angry and you don't know why do you get angry, you can't manage yourself in the environment and lead others. The final advice for me to you, and we train on this, is that the more you help people tolerate the discomfort, tolerate the crisis, tolerate the pandemic. This is why when I go and train in these uncertain times, I give them power to tolerate the future that is so uncertain. And as a manager, there are certain things you need to communicate to your employees to lead them through these difficult times. So what do you need after all this? Number one, focus. And again and again and again, observation. See what is behind the scene. What is this employee afraid of? And be vocal about it. Number two, be flexible, agile, and adaptive. Adaptability in times of crisis comes number one. Rigidity will not handle anything. It gets you stuck, and the organization gets stuck. And I went and saw a lot of problems from organizations. They came to me for culture development, and I find them frozen and stuck. So be flexible. And when you have the ability to be flexible, you will find yourself listening more than listening to options. You're not rigid at one option. You can take a zillion options. Why do I ask you to do this and be flexible? And why do I ask you to focus and observe the environment? Because I want you to lead and deploy fear and then communicate. If you don't communicate properly, what is the damage? We'll open the chat. If you don't communicate properly, guys, what is the damage? Can you tell me? One word, popcorn. If you don't communicate properly, what is the damage? And remember, misunderstanding, conflicts, uninformed decisions, bravo, not being understood. There's no clarity. The vision is not clear. Frustration, laziness, confusion. Amazing, amazing, amazing bunch of people you are. Confusion, toxicity. So communication comes number 1 and 2 and 3. I spend 4 days in communication sessions. Lack of understanding, lack of direction, assuming. People will assume. So you don't give this to your people. You need to lead them while holding them steady. So if you don't communicate well, you cannot lead. You cannot lead. Again, I'll close with this. Beautiful people, let's go. I'll close with this. I want you to know the following. Politics exists in every group of human beings. You have to get out of this session knowing this. Leadership is partly politics. It's amazing. When you inspire people, motivate people, all the other things, take a decision, you should be very focused, alert, observant. You have a diagnostic mindset. You have a growing mindset, not a fixed mindset. You're flexible, you're not rigid. You look at stakeholders, you look at the level of engagement, you have a degree of power and influence, you have values that you want to keep focusing on, loyalties that you know people, you know that you're going into a meeting that people don't like you. They like the other manager more. It's okay. The idea is that you have to know. If you don't know, you will not lead anybody. But when you know it and smile and start leading people, start inspiring them, start mobilizing them. You have to know the losses at risk. And you have to know, my last thing, that there are hidden alliances in every organization. There are hidden alliances. There are hidden biases. There are people and CEOs who like to listen to Russia, but not to Y. They like X more than Z. This is the nature of human beings. If you want to lead, just know it, and you will be great leaders. And train yourself more. Get up-to-date training. By this, I finished. Thank you so much. My last slide will be the leadership journey. I usually take organizations and personnel and people into the organization. It's the self, how you lead yourself as a system, and then the culture around you and the environment, and then leading in the working place, how you lead others and your subordinates, and actually your bosses and your employees. And then we find out huge results and huge business growth. And actually, I have to be very clear with you, and success in life on the whole and in general. You will find me, I'm always happy to answer your questions. Go ahead. Who's gonna, maybe we can write your question. I'll take 4 questions. And then you have my email and you have my Instagram. You will find me and my email if anybody wants to ask me other questions. And even on the platform, it's a beautiful platform. Go ahead. 4 questions. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been a wonderful.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rasha, for such wonderful presentation about adaptive leadership. Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you, Hanan? Hanan is the one mobilizing everybody and everything in this platform. Thank you so much, dear, for this session.
Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you, merci, merci beaucoup, merci, merci, merci. Beautiful session. I wish I'm in the same room with all of you. A great session. Thank you. Eloquent. It's been great. Good presentation. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Woo, what a wonderful, amazing. Let's go into questions. I have goosebumps, actually.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And then after the questions, please don't forget to take a group photo with us.
Definitely. You will find it on my Instagram. I have an Instagram. Please go and follow me. I'll be delighted that you follow me. It's Rasha Kenawi .leadership. Questions. Let's go into questions. What do you think about? What is in your mind? Let me help you in anything, questions that I can. And yes, I am 51, and thank you for the lovely comment. You're gorgeous for 51. Let me tell you, and my son is married too. Come on, questions. Sadna, go ahead.
Dr. Rasha, can you please close your share screen?
Sure. Sadna,
thank you so much.
Go ahead. Did we write? Can I have the mic? Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Vonani or Sadna.
Okay. Thank you. Can you?
Thank you, dear. Go ahead. You can write your question in order not to have a connection. We're how many participants?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. So first of all, I was here last time for the presentation.
I know, and I remember.
I love it. And this time again, I was looking forward for this leadership. And through what you've gone, what I've realized is that we've suffered so much. We have had CEOs leading our institutions, but yet they have been at the authority side, but not being able to take the leadership position when there was a transition, when there was a conflict in the culture. So we stayed in the organization as it is for the last 10 years. So I think that this has been so much, I could see everything that you explained through what I had undergone in my own institution. And I just hope that COVID is over and we could invite you in my institution to let us go through this leadership process. I'm so happy to see Dr. Hanan. I think it's the first time I could open my video. It was so, thank you so much. So thank you. And I hope to see you again for another session, for taking us the whole process of leadership. It's been too short.
I know. Thank you so much, Sadna. And I definitely was delighted to see you again. And I know it's shorter than last time. However, we can manage to do something very customized for anybody that wants. Let me comment on you, Sadna. It's very good to listen to this for a second time, because for the first time, and when you go back to your businesses and organizations, you will realize a lot of things that myself, I changed tremendously.
It was new. For me, it was again new, believe me.
It was very new to everybody. Yes. And that's the beauty of Harvard. That's the beauty of Harvard material. Number one. Number two, again, people can drive you upward or can bring you downwards. Take care of this in your organization. I saw a lot of this in governments, in Africa, in Dubai, in Arab countries, in even the US. We go into institutions, in governments, in multinationals. So it's all everywhere. So it's very good that you train your focus and alertness and observation.
And I love I loved what you said. It's very important for our sisters to understand that, because by nature, I'm very much a leader, because I've been leading organizations. But, sometimes now, after some years, I realized that, as you said, it's a choice. Not always we should just leap, but stay, the last time from and out the balcony. Thank you.
Please, again, two important questions. Do I want to lead this? You are the most important jewel here. Don't throw yourself into leading while you don't want to lead, or it's not worth it, or you can pay a price higher than your expectations. And that's why number two comes in the middle. If yes, please know your purpose and stay focused on your purpose. Number three, and it's an advice, we will not switch off the session and you become leaders. No. You have to try it a bit by bit. Go today, go into your meetings, go when you go back, try something from what Rasha has said, and just see and understand what is happening in the place.
The politics.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I have published, so I would like to share my work with you. My email will be there, right, Hanan?
Absolutely, absolutely. Everything will be in the platform. You will go there for the trainers lounge. You will find everything regarding Mr. Rasha.
I want to lead, but seems like too many obstacles, resistance of women-led positions. Women and men. women are, we have a lot of things to talk about. Women are not as, if women help each other more, we would have been in a different place, believe it or not. But that's what we are, what I talked about winning a medal. You will find when a CEO becomes a woman, she's very happy and love the idea of that she's the woman among men. A lot of times we see this. I want you to understand this. When you understand, not everything, there is no general thing. There is no whites and blacks. There are good, very good people. But we also see these women. When you understand it, I promise you will be able to handle her. I promise. You will know when to talk or when to stop talking and give her the attention until you figure your way out. So always have hope. It's amazing. It's a transformational of your mindset. But there are real obstacles and problems. I was just talking about this in a Women's International Day, and I'm talking about my thing is I make leaders. That's my proficiency. So bear with us, women are coming. And a nice thing that you have to know is that the later review of Harvard Business Review from 40 leadership competencies, women outscore men in 18. So it's coming, it's amazing. Especially Africa is coming very soon because you're the next attractive land, you're the jewel, next era. Everybody knows this. It's not something new. What else? Who else would like to ask a question? We're coming to an end. I'm sorry, Hanan.
Myself?
Yeah, go ahead, Dr. Vanani.
It's Susan. It's Susan. Can I ask?
Suzanne, go ahead. Sorry, Habibti.
Thank you very much for this very elaborate presentation. I have learned something about hidden alliances. Now, many times these hidden alliances will undermine the leadership. What can we do?
Oh, that's a big question. Let's walk before we run. Let's walk before we run. Knowing what I told you today, knowing that the hidden alliance adds a lot of value to how you deal in business. Because not knowing, it's like doing business in a dark spot. You can't handle anybody. The fun of leadership now, it's becoming like fun to me. You know, I go into meetings, I go into organizations, I understand what is happening underneath the rug, and I'm just, the idea of a leader here, Suzanne, and I want to say this to everybody. We're all human beings. We want attention, we want titles, we want money, we want to be on top of the hierarchy. But a leader is different. A leader, when you train on it by time, you want your purpose to be achieved without even you achieving it. So you're only mobilizing people to the purpose, and the satisfaction that we get outweighs the attention that we are hungry for. I'm talking real life, and that's my edge. So bear with me. We all want to be on top. You will be there, but not through the stereotype or typical line. Focus on your purpose, understand and diagnose the system, lead yourself as a system, because this, I have to tell you, this is one of the major mistakes. Don't be a part of the problem. Sometimes we go back to our homes, we're frustrated, we're angry, and it's something in our guts from our insecurities. We need to be very frank to ourselves. And that's, before I couldn't, I was just going into organization, and I didn't do the lead yourself. And I found out that it's a must. And I agree with my professor. I was talking with my mentors that I have to train on leading yourself before the other leading others. All right? I used to do the leading others without leading yourself. Sometimes we, and I say we, are part of the problem. Any other questions? I'm Amy, Rwanda. How are you? By the way, my best friend is from Nigeria, from Harvard. So I love Rwanda, Nigeria, every place, South Africa, every place. I hope I can visit sometime. What I can tell you about institutions led by women, they are performing very well. We have to be confident as women. Absolutely. Women outscore men in definitely emotional intelligence, definitely communication. Although I prefer that you take training courses in communication. Nowadays, we've transferred. We're not doing communication, me or any other. Communication, it became like a soft skill 5 or 10 years or 20 years ago. Now they find it a hardcore skill again. We find CEOs, engineers, or technology people horrible in communication. So I'm doing it with equations in order to understand, and the left side people understand the way communication gets you higher results. So absolutely have confidence. I can share with you our just review the major 18 leadership competencies. I think women are coming. We're much prepared to be people-oriented other than men. I hope men come across and along as well. And I'll wait for any invitation, actually. Thank you. Any other, or we can just say goodbye and take the picture. 3 participants raised hands. Who's raising hands? Goodbye. Waiting for you. Go ahead. Go ahead. Last question.
J'avais levé la main. Oui, j'avais levé la main, merci. Je suis Christine Yao de la Côte d'Ivoire. Et je sais que ma préoccupation était...
How can I see the translation? Christine, just un peu.
Un peu plus fort, ok. D'accord. Je disais que ma préoccupation a été prise en compte déjà, puisqu'il y a une panéliste qui a posé la question, vous avez répondu. Et donc, je voudrais vraiment vous dire merci. La présentation était super. J'ai eu la chance de participer à une formation sur le leadership avec l'ambassade des États-Unis en Côte d'Ivoire. Et actuellement, même, nous sommes dans ce processus-là. Et ce que j'ai retenu à la suite de ce que vous avez vu vous nous avez donné comme formation aujourd'hui, je retiens que le leader, le leader, c'est quelqu'un, c'est le secret, il a le secret de servir. C'est surtout ça. Servir, et ils nous ont amené à étudier le livre Comment développer son leadership de Ken Blanchard et Mark Miller. Et ce qu'on a retenu, Oui, Ken Blanchard, on a étudié son livre sur comment développer son leadership. Et c'est très intéressant. Je me suis retrouvée dans cette formation que vous avez donnée aujourd'hui et je voudrais vraiment vous dire merci. Parce qu'à travers sa formation, j'ai vu que tout ce que vous avez dit, le leader, il doit avoir une vision, il doit pouvoir influencer, il doit pouvoir communiquer. Et donc, tout se résume dans vraiment servir, le verbe servir. Et Ken Blanchard, je voulais partager en même temps avec vous et avec les autres participants à la formation, où Ken Blanchard dit, le leader, il doit pouvoir signaler l'avenir, c'est-à-dire avoir une vision. Il doit pouvoir engager les personnes et les faire grandir. C'est-à-dire que chercher à mettre une équipe, créer une équipe autour de lui et à mener cette cohésion dans l'équipe. Il doit se réinventer sans cesse. Et ça, je suis d'accord avec vous. Le leader doit pouvoir se former. Parce que s'il ne se forme pas, alors il ne peut pas avancer. Il ne peut pas se réinventer. Et il doit pouvoir valoriser ses résultats, même les plus petits résultats. Le leader doit pouvoir valoriser ces résultats-là et entretenir les relations. Relationship revient encore, comme vous l'avez dit. Et incarner des valeurs. Tout à l'heure, vous avez dit, le leader, il a des valeurs. Et je suis pleinement d'accord avec vous. Il doit être crédible. Il doit inspirer la confiance. Sinon, autrement, il ne peut pas être un bon leader. Et il doit toujours réfléchir. Parce que vous êtes leader, vous allez incarner, vous avez une vision, vous avez incarné des valeurs. Vous allez partager cette vision, vous allez savoir communiquer. Mais
can we stop here, Christine, so that anybody, Sadna, or anybody can tell me so that I can answer back? What is the core of what Christine is saying? Because the interpretation is not working for me. So I need to answer her because that's my duty.
Yeah.
So anybody would translate?
Yeah, I'm trying. I'll try to. What he's saying is that she found the session very, very interesting because she has been doing some kind of leadership training with the US Embassy, mostly based on Blanchard and all that. So she has found herself again with all the concepts that you have been talking about, relationship, about communication, etc., etc. And finds that without all these leadership, you can't go further. You have to be a leader to be able to communicate. So she's a bit what you said, and is thanking you for the excellent presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I'll make sure that the next time you send me an email in French, I'll put it into Google and translate it immediately and get back to you. Thank you so much.
Sandra, merci à toi. C'était vraiment intéressant. Thank you. Very good. Thank you. I think that you will have your mail pour pouvoir communiquer.
Thank you so much. I'm a woman like you, and it's been a hard journey on me. I understand where you come from. I understand different things. I was there for 30 years. So I know how it feels and the frustrations that we pass through, but it's coming, especially in your place. Believe me, I'm just following the African women presidents. I'm following what is happening quite well. So it's really an amazing thing that you should be proud of. And you take some resilience and hope in what I'm saying.
Thank you so much, Rasha. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let's take the picture. Let's take the picture. Hello.
Hello, do you hear me?
Open your cameras, please.
Open your cameras in order
Hello?
to... Yes. Just a second. Did we take it ولا ايه اللي بيحصل؟
Not yet.
Great.
Okay.
We're waiting for others to join.
طب يبقى احط النضارة علشان ما بشوفش.
Sure. Yes.
I don't see.
Yes, Salamatu, would you please allow the light to be on your face so that we can see your beautiful face? Salamatu, yes, perfect.
Do we look nice?
We do. Yes, please. Sandra, we're waiting for you. La, Salamatu is okay now.
Great.
Perfect. Yes, still.
Lisa?
Yes.
هتشل.
Yes. عندنا ناس بيعرفوا عربي.
يعرفوا.
عربي بتكلم عربي.
يعني I don't mind by the way we're people يعني.
شكرا كثير رشا.
أنا اللي متشكرة. Thank you so much. Send me emails. Send me any question that you.
I think we need and make leaders. You know, it's a mission.
Yes.
Yeah.
Indeed, it is. So I think we're ready.
يلا بينا.
Yes.
1, 2, 3.
واحدة تانية من غير نظارة.
واحدة تانية. Okay. Ready?
Gorgeous 51, but I don't see.
Ready?
C'est joli, la motif violet, c'est joli. Oui.
1, 2, 3.
On te reconnaît plus sans la monture.
Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'll see you definitely again. I have my email and you have it. My Instagram is there. I'm explaining a lot of concepts again, and maybe we will meet. Yani, I'm sure on Zoom again.
Your email is on the line, yeah.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
And have fun. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.